content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Hey ho, wrestling fans, welcome to another edition of WPOV Global. I'm your host. I usually at this time would say the legend, TJ Logan, but today I'm going to be the Iron Man, TJ Logan, followed by the gentleman / cut that, he's not the gentleman today, he is the Iron Boy, my sidekick, Elio Canella. That's right, we're WPOV Global, and we're the guys who from the day we started on this show, we have done every single episode and not missed one. Do you know what, Elio?
Yes, sir. What's that?
This is my 51st episode in a row, and it's episode 51. I've been here since day one. Now, we got you on episode 6.
Episode 6.
You have not missed one episode since you've been on.
We are Mr. No Days Off.
Now, to put this into perspective,
no weeks off.
To put this into perspective, fans who listened from episode 1, I had a co-host who lasted exactly one episode.
Oh wow!
Who then who bugged out in the middle of episode 2 and then quit. Episode 3. Yeah.
Jeez.
And then episodes 4 and 5, I had Rick Serrano filling in, and then episode 6, born to the global family, a young Canadian boy made of iron because he stayed in for now 44 episodes. We're talking about the gentleman Elio Canella joined this team. And you want to know what? I'm not the kind of guy to be too braggedy. Well, maybe. But I would like to point out that means I have done almost a year's straight every week this show. Wow. You are coming close to that. And I will like you to know that the guys over at WPOV, they ain't so Iron Man-like at all. They're not even Iron Ladies. I'm looking at you too, Mimi. Each one of those guys in this year alone have missed how many episodes? And I would know this because both me and Elio have filled in for the missing people on the POV show.
This is true.
So, fans, do know that this week you picked the Iron Men of podcasting, not the marshmallow women that usually do the WPOV. Today, we're going to be talking some wrestling. We're going to have some fun. We're going to go across the world. We're going to be in Japan, England, and a bunch of other places. But you know what? Elio, first of all, how you been doing, my friend? How has your week been going?
My week's been great.
Yeah, anything to report on the... Well, I know most of your reports get the X rated from the censors, but anything you could tell us in a family-like nature?
No, we just, Monday, this weekend was a long weekend, Thanksgiving here, so just had a quiet Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep, that's right, for all you American fans wondering, wow, what the hell are they talking about? In Canada, we celebrate our Thanksgiving a month earlier. I think they call it Columbus Day down there.
Yes.
So, well, we're not going to talk about white expansionists and colonialism wiping out the indigenous people. No, let's get into some wrestling. I got to do one quick question, though, Elliot. I got to ask. Is your blood still sponsored by Bud Light?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
And a whole bunch of other companies as well.
Oh, my friend. I don't know what to do with you. I know there's 12 steps that'll help you, but I'm pretty sure you're going to skip 6 of them. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at, every week, folks, we like to put up a poll. Mm-hmm. That's where we would like to get you, the people, get your opinions out there. Sometimes you guys give us opinions, which is always super nice. This week we had an interesting type question, okay? Lately we've been talking quite a bit about ROH, Ring of Honor. Now, longtime fans know that me and Elio have, for a long time, we've been supporters of our ROH. I mean, we watched it in the early days, you know? I used to order tapes, Elio. I used to have to order tapes from ROH. They'd come through the mail. Well, not tapes. They were like DVDs. And, it would take longer because we're in Canada. They'd hold them up, and sometimes I'd have to pay extra things on them. But I paid for them. And at the time, the ROH belt was getting bigger and bigger. Samoa Joe took it across to England, defended it once or twice there, and people recognized it as a world championship caliber title. This day and age, though, I'm starting to question the validity of calling it a world title. First of all, give me your opinion. In your mind, is the ROH belt a world title still?
I don't know. I mean, okay, so it's been defended around the world, but lately it's become more of a. I think it's become more of a company championship rather than a world championship, because it used to mean a lot more in the early days of ROH, whereas now, with the way the show has been going lately.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you, to me, I equate this question in my mind. Growing up in the mid '80s, I was a massive AWA wrestling fan. Used to love it.
Yep.
Nick Bockwinkel, Rick Martel, Stan Hansen. These guys were like, the AWA to me was the company, and I know that sounds weird. I know WWE was starting to make a big jump in with the rock and roll connection, and you had the NWA was getting really hot with Ric Flair, but I loved AWA wrestling, and I considered it a world championship belt. Okay,
I used to watch it whenever I could or whenever it was on television.
Well, there did become a point in the late '80s where I had to realize and admit that the AWA belt was only a world title in name. At one time, it meant a lot, but it got to the point where when Larry Zbyszko was carrying it at the end, that nobody really cared anymore. The AWA was kind of like it had become a regional promotion again with a world title. And that was because the lack of interest in the product and the lack of fans watching it. Now, that's why I put this up, because at one time, the ROH belt was considered the third world title out there.
Yep.
But lately, the amount of fans watching the show has decreased. Their pay-per-views, we mentioned last week, had a drastic drop-off rate for the last couple.
I don't even know, because we haven't been watching ROH. I don't even know if they mentioned that there was a Glory by Honor pay-per-view this past weekend.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people cared or knew.
I wouldn't have known if I hadn't gone on to that site to watch Kings of Pro.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and you know what? So we both, I guess I have to agree with you. I consider it a company title now. You consider it a company title now. I'm very surprised, though, at the voting. It was close, but not super close. 55% of the voters out there said they still consider it a world championship. And I ask then, how come those people aren't actually watching ROH? Because they need all that. Their ratings are at all-time low right now. Yeah. So, I mean, how can you consider it a world title if you're not even watching it or really care to see the champion defend his belt? All right. We had one comment from Simon Christopher Davis. And in some ways I could see this, but the fact is, I think this is an idiotic thing to say, okay? I believe I've seen it defended. He must have meant defended, because it's correct. Yep. Defends in other countries. So technically, it's a world champion. Okay. I'm not even going to pick apart the English language here, but what he's saying is because it was defended in other countries, it should be recognized as a world champion. Okay. Under that thinking, I know even in Western Canada, a couple belts that went to Australia and stuff and were defended once or twice doesn't make them all of a sudden world titles. Just means some promoter let you walk out with a piece of tin wrapped around your belt. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to disagree with that comment. Okay, the prestige is just not there anymore. And fans, if 55% of you really do believe that, then please support ROH. Go watch the show. Make a resurgence, help them get back on track, because lately, Elio made a good point. There was a pay-per-view of them this weekend. I could have watched that thing for free, and I didn't even really care.
There was actually one thing that bothered me about that pay-per-view.
What was that?
Now, do you remember when we were watching ROH, we were huge fans of PCO?
Yes.
Okay, and in that whole look they had. Well, on this Glory by Honor, when he came out dressed as, I guess, Sir Frankenstein, and they called him the French-Canadian Frankenstein.
Okay.
And they had him painted up like one, like his face, they had it white makeup, and they had black circles around his eyes as opposed to the usual paint that he has on around his eyes.
So, and this, why did this upset you?
It wasn't the same. Didn't look the same PCO that we've been watching.
So you feel they've gone a little too cheaply with?
Yeah, like and he wrestles in a black suit jacket.
Well, I guess some people. I mean, we have made comments that ROH might need to, like, switch things up in their presentation. Maybe that's just kind of an attempt to make PCO a larger than life character, which he kind of wrestles as. So
Yep.
I don't know. I got to admit, I didn't watch the pay-per-view. I wasn't interested. So I'm going to actually now probably at least go back and look at that match to see what you're talking about with PCO.
Okay.
And okay, fair enough.
Yep.
All right. You know what? We have a bit of news to report this week. A few title changes. ROH, which I know I didn't watch, but Elio did tell me that I do believe the Women of Honor title returned to Kelly Klein as she defeats Angelina Love.
Yes.
On that pay-per-view. Another title or I guess another bit of news, and we're not really going to talk about the title change yet, but Jon Moxley stripped of the New Japan Pro Wrestling US title for failure to make a defense. They had the two top contenders they felt for that belt face each other at the King of Pro Wrestling, and we're going to talk about that pretty soon here. That crowned the new U.S. champion. We're not going to say it now, folks. We'll get into it, but let's turn our attention right now over to our hot topic of the week. Okay. Now, me and Elio going into this, we had started with the idea of a hot topic, which we had noticed a lot of kind of hard, not just hardcore wrestling, but bloody and stuff appearing in AEW. And originally we were going to talk about that, but then we started talking about how we don't necessarily hate so-called hardcore matches. Mm-hmm. We just hate the deathmatch aspects of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have another poll here, and we're wondering, fans, is there room in today's society for the deathmatch? I mean, would you rather? I mean, are you more of a fan of a hardcore match? And I'm talking those are the matches where maybe there's no rules. Maybe you can fight in the audience. Maybe there's the kendo stick comes out, or maybe the occasional chair.
If you have hardcore matches, it should be chairs, tables, kendo sticks, maybe, but none of this thumbtacks, staples, and none of that.
When I see the staple gun come out, it just annoys me so much.
Yep.
You're right. Glass, thumbtacks. We've seen, and I think there's a line in my mind of like where you draw fantasy. Like, let's face it, we watch wrestling for the fantasy aspect of the fighting.
Yep.
But where do we draw that line when the fighting becomes so disgusting? And that's what it becomes. I mean, it's kind of cool when you see them fight with a chair or a kendo stick, or they're fighting in the crowd, or that kind of stuff, right? That can be fun, but I never, Elio, in my darkest fantasies have I ever dreamt that I was a wrestler and that I dropped somebody on a bunch of thumbtacks.
No, ew, no.
Or I took a staple gun and stapled a dollar bill to their face or their tongue to like, this is...
No, that's disgusting.
It's disgusting. It's so revolting that for me, it strips away the fantasy of what I like about wrestling and turns it into
it makes you not want to watch.
Right. It makes me think, okay, when I was young, I remember being maybe like 12 years old, and we had a big fair out here, which we call Klondike Days in Edmonton, and it's like a big state fair for you Americans, and they'd have this fair every year for like 10 days. And back in this day, I remember being like 12 years old, and my parents taking me, and we're walking along, and there was this tent for Freak Show, it was called.
Uh-oh. Okay.
And it involved people like piercing things through their body and eating glass and all this disgusting stuff. And even at that young age, in my head, I just thought, I don't want to see that, right? That doesn't interest me. So when I turn on a match like a couple weeks ago where we saw Jimmy Havoc put thumbtacks in someone's mouth and then kick them in the face, I'm sorry, but that is so depraved in my mind that it takes out all of what I think is good about wrestling and fills that idea with just garbage and crap.
Yep.
Now, you
I
go on a
agree.
bit. You tell me how you feel about the whole
Yeah, no,
hardcore
I
deathmatch
agree.
thing.
I agree. I'm not a fan. Like whenever they have these matches. Okay, hardcore. Like I was saying, hardcore matches are cool. They're okay. You're fighting the crowd. You're fighting at ringside using chairs, tables, whatever. But none of these. When they start taking out the thumbtacks, staple guns, even the barbed wire, no, that's when I start turning it away. And that's when I just want to turn my TV off.
Well, I have a lot of friends that I grew up who would say to me, "You like pro wrestling, but how come you don't like MMA?" And I tell them this: yes, pro wrestling in its very, I mean, if you strip it down to its common basicness, yeah, it's a couple guys dressed in tights, sweating on each other and grappling.
Yeah. But
Okay?
in MMA you get hit.
Well,
For
here's the
real.
difference. Yeah. Now, I say to people, why don't I watch MMA and why do I watch wrestling? Well, I like the fantasy idea of wrestling that two guys would get in this horrendous contest
Yep.
and that one of them would win and one would lose. But in the end, nobody really, really gets hurt unless a slip up
Right.
happens.
Right.
MMA, when you're taking shots to the head, with knees to the head, you can't tell me that that doesn't add up, that that doesn't hurt people. If I want to see people really get beat up, punched around, whatever, I'll just hang out by a bar on a Saturday night and watch at the closing time, watch two bums go at it. I mean, I have no interest in that. It doesn't, I don't find it cool. I was never the guy who was like, oh, let's go watch some people fight, That's why wrestling is fun because it is that fantasy of good versus evil. It's that
Yes.
fantasy of the small guy rising up against the bad guy, the guy overcoming the odds. But in the end of the day, nobody really walks out really hurt unless
Right.
they've slipped up somewhere and accidentally hurt themselves. That I like. I don't like the idea of actually hitting people repeatedly. So the problem here with death matches, I'm not even going to call them hardcore anymore. I think death match is what we're going to call those kind of things. You can't
I
fake
can't believe. Sorry, I can't believe companies like CCW are
are
still
still
doing
around.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean IWA still does King of the Death matches and Queen of the Death matches now.
Oh, see that's even worse when it's like women's matches and they have like those kind of matches. No.
Yeah, I you cannot fake. Okay, you can hit somebody with a chair, and you see in wrestling if you watch closely, you'll see how they protect themselves. How sometimes, most time, they're hitting them on the shoulders, not really the head, and,
Yep.
and this kind of stuff. And you can sell that and make it look tremendous. It looks awesome. You know what you can't sell? You know what you can't fake, Elio?
What's that?
You can't fake landing on thumbtacks. You can't fake
Right.
barbed wire
Yep.
across the face. You can't fake glass being smashed in your face. You can't fake lighting tubes cracked across your back.
Like
Um,
I caught one part of the main event of tonight's AEW, which we'll get into.
yeah.
That when I saw they clearly showed the way the guy landed.
Yeah. Here's a great example, folks. I can remember years ago the current wrestler in the WWE known as Jinder Mahal. I knew Jinder Mahal back when he was wrestling here in Western Canada as Tiger Singh. And
Not
Tiger was in a not the old.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Tiger Saint. What?
No, no, not this is anyhow. So Tiger and Gama Singh Jr. were a tag team out here,
Right.
and I seen them get into a hardcore match, which involved Abdullah the Butcher and what is that guy Hannibal? Do you know Nicholson, Devin Nicholson? He calls himself Hannibal, anyways. So, anyways, they're fighting these guys, and this guy, I think might have been Abdullah, takes a light tube and smashes it across the back of Jinder
Now
Mahal's
see
neck and
that's
shoulders.
that guy's a perfect example. Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah.
Now here, like for a while, we on Sundays at 3 p.m. we used to get International Wrestling from Montreal. He was always featured on there, and he was always involved in some sort of bloody match.
Yeah, yeah, and it was always disgusting.
Yep.
And now I remember Tiger, or Jinder Mahal here, taking that light tube smashed across his shoulders and his back, right? And I remember talking to him a month later and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
how's things going?" And I said, "Hey,
Oh.
when you got hit with that light tube, how bad was it?" And he goes,
Oh.
"Well, it hurt a bit." He goes, "But what really sucks," he goes, "is I still, to this day, every now and then, I feel a piece of glass fall out of my back, or I scratch and pull a piece of glass
Oh.
out of my back."
Ow.
Like a month
Oh.
later.
Wow.
I don't think there's anything cool about that.
No.
You know, there's nothing cool about trying to destroy someone, trying to bleed somebody severely, trying to, like you watch Abdullah matches and he's stabbing people in the forehead,
Yeah. With a
like
fork.
with a fork. And those things, I I don't know why these things still exist, because apparently the audience for it isn't that big. I mean, have you ever? I mean, I challenge any of you fans to go look up on YouTube or someplace, look up the current King of Deathmatch things. They'll have some guys fighting with like 30 freaking light tubes and tacks and glass, but you look at the audience and you see maybe like 20 people. People aren't going to see this. I mean, they're making their money by selling it over, like tapes of it. For people who,
Where you've seen those 20 people.
yeah,
They were they were part of the Attitude Era.
yeah, the last 20 left. Um, you know what? So in this day and age, it still boggles my mind that there are death matches.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I think I want to know what you fans think. Obviously, me and Elio have told you we're not the fans of this kind of stuff. And we find it hard to believe that this stuff still goes on today, in this day and age, when there's bloodborne diseases, when you can get hepatitis C, where where just so many things, like so many dangerous things in these matches that we know about health wise. How is it that these matches still exist? So I want to know, fans, and I want you to really be honest out here. In this day and age, should there be these so-called death matches, or should they draw the line at just having matches, the hardcore match,
I'm
which
curious
means
to see how many
chairs,
comments.
tables.
I'm
Yeah,
curious to see how many comments we get.
yes, and fans, please, when you vote, tell me why you vote. Right on. Tell us what you think, and you know what? You can write us here at Wrestling POV. You can find us on the Facebook page, Wrestling POV Podcast. You can put answer the poll, and please fill in a comment. Elio, there's some other places people can reach us.
Oh, you got Instagram at Wrestling POV1 and Twitter Wrestling POV.
You know what? I am curious, fans. Please do
Are
write.
you okay?
Yeah, I took a glass of water. That's okay. Yeah, it wasn't calm down. It wasn't booze, Elio. I'm not hoarding it on you, buddy. I would share. Okay, so fans, please do comment in now.
Well, you've checked up on me in past episodes, so I have to check up on you.
I know, but I'm not the alcoholic who falls down flat on his face. So I'm looking after you, buddy. Anyhow, so yes, that'll be our poll for next week. We're curious to see. Okay, we'll try and word it a little better, so not convoluted, but it will be up this week. Also, hey, you know what? Since there is polls, we should throw up another poll, Elio, because I know me and you've been curious about this.
Oh, all right? Okay. What's this?
All right. The poll will be this. Mm-hmm. Is it more... Oh, no, maybe. You know what? I'm going to think about it. Let me think about this one. It's a little dicey, and it involves me and you being the Iron Men of the POV family versus the jello-spined weaklings at Wrestling POV. So we're going to have to figure out how to word this. we're gonna figure out how to word this next poll, but it's gonna have to do with us never missing an episode and even filling in for the other guys. So we'll figure something out there during the week, folks. But you know what? Let's turn our attention now to New Japan. Okay.
Okay.
Oh wait! Before we go to New Japan, I want to quickly mention this, and I'm going to mention it at the end again. Coming up, we love to do our POV points game. All right. There will not be one for Crown Jewel. I know we didn't have one for Hell in a Cell, and that was because the WWE screwed everyone and us over by not even telling us what the heck the matches were going to be.
Which was stupid.
Yeah.
And it wasn't interesting. It was just stupid.
It was stupid. Now, there will be one. Wrestling POV will be running one, but they're not going to be running it for this Crown Jewel, okay? You know, that's something that we don't really... It's something that's a little disgusting to all of us.
Yep.
At the POV family here, we're not cool with this whole, matches being promoted by like a country that just suppresses everything and anybody. It's disgusting. The WWE looks dirty doing this.
Yep.
We don't want a lot to do with it. So I don't even know if I'm going to watch it. I'll be honest, Elio. I didn't watch any of the other ones. I probably will not
didn't
watch
watch
this
any
one.
other ones. I was asked to cover some of them. I'm like, nope.
Nope. This goes against a lot of stuff, I believe, and as such, POV will not be doing a points game. However, we will be doing a points game for the upcoming Survivor Series.
Can't believe it's already here, Survivor Series.
I know this year has gone so freaking quick. I mean, I guess when every single week you show up and do your podcast, time does go by. I guess the POV guys probably wouldn't know this as much as us, but anyhow. So wow, so there is going to be some prizes at this, and they're being a little bit kind of murky about it. I've been asking what exactly, like, what do we tell the good people about the prizes? And, well, they said that they're going to be giving out clues coming up, okay? And I have something from the president himself, all right?
Yeah, I believe I saw this word as one of the first clues.
Yeah. Now, it says that there'll be clues given away. It says the POV Points Game Survivor Series will be a prize giveaway. A clue to tell the people it will be crazy. And they put crazy in, like, italics, like saying that crazy is some kind of clue. This comes from the Wrestling POV president. Next week, he'll give us another clue. So I'm already interested. I mean, obviously, me and you cannot win the prize, but I'm interested to see when somebody does win the prize, what this prize is going to be.
Should be interesting.
Should be interesting. You know what? Let's take a quick look now at the King of Pro Wrestling. Okay, that is the New Japan pay-per-view. I guess it's hard to tell with it's the big show, and we like to cover the ones that are like this. All right, fans. So King of Pro Wrestling, it was sort of funny because I started watching it, and I remember saying to Elio, I said, "Hey, Elio, you got to check out this one match," and for sure.
And you know me, I never check out just one match.
That is true, and it was funny.
I always watch the whole show.
Yeah, it ended up Elio watched the whole show, which I'm glad he did, because after I watched it, I realized the next day I should have said, "Hey, check out the whole show. It's actually got a lot of good stuff on it." So let's quickly go over the show, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the interesting stuff that we saw on it. All right. So we're back at New Japan just comes back from I'm going to say less than successful tour here in the United States. It wasn't exactly the best thing, but so anyways, they head back to Japan. They're in Tokyo, and this is called the King of Pro Wrestling. And some of the matches on here we're just going to go over really quickly. Opening match, we had the returning El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru taking on Sho and Yo.
Yep.
I found it to be a pretty fast-paced match, interesting. Desperado has been out for a while. The fans, despite the fact he's a bad guy, people were cheering him like crazy. He got the pin on Sho. What do you think of the match? Good or bad?
This one was a good match. This was a good opener.
Good opener.
Yeah.
In the second match, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Tomoko Hanma take on Toru Yano and Togi Makabe. A really kind of comedy match with lots of funny stuff going on, which sometimes you get, especially with Yano. Definitely,
Toriano's a comedian in there.
And I don't know what to think about Hanma. He's sort of ridiculous. He's like this Chinese, Japanese version of Hulk Hogan.
I was just about to say that. Isn't that what you call him, the Japanese version of Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, only Hulk Hogan seems to have more wrestling moves than Hanma. Hanma slaps his head and headbutts you. However, Tanahashi gets the pin. The third match, Shingo Takagi and Tetsuya Naito of Los Ignobles take on Tai Chi and Doki. Ooh. This match, Naito gets the win. However, he is going to get a title shot against Tai Chi coming up. And Tai Chi jumped him at the end of the match and was really in his face. It was kind of weird to see Tai Chi such a...
I saw him, he got on a mic, he leaned down and called Naito weak.
Yeah, he really reveled in his dominance at the end.
I have a question. You said Naito gets a title shot against Tai Chi. What champion is Tai Chi?
Isn't Tai Chi the neverweight? Open weight?
Is he?
Yeah, I think he is. They
Okay.
they have a match coming up, and it's going to be very interesting,
Oh, okay.
to say the
Alright.
least. Then we had, now this match is something that had been building for a while. We had Juice and Thunder Liger taking on Minoru Suzuki. We talked about Suzuki attacking Liger so many times, bringing out the Dark Liger. Then they get this match. This match didn't go the way I thought it would go at all. Suzuki beats Liger pretty convincingly, beats him down pretty hard.
No wait. Is this the final match?
I would think it would be. I don't see where you go from here. There was no controversy. I mean,
No,
Suzuki.
because we kept talking about what Liger's match at Wrestle Kingdom, who that would be against.
I don't
And
know. Maybe
we were saying it might have been against Suzuki.
it might be, but I mean, I didn't expect this match to come so quick, but it came. I mean, it's not like Liger. It's not like Suzuki here got like a fluke victory or a cheat victory. He
Right.
was pretty dominant, and he slapped the crap out of Liger.
Okay.
The only thing that I found really interesting is at the very end of the match, after Suzuki who won, he goes into the crowd, grabs a chair like he usually does,
Right.
gets in the ring, and goes to attack Liger like he usually does all his opponents. But then he stopped, put the chair down, looked at Liger, and then got on his knees and bowed before him as a sign of total respect.
Wow.
And for 1 second, everyone just gasped. And then Suzuki got up and walked out as if nothing and went to the back. That, my friends, was the coolest thing that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, you don't usually see Suzuki do stuff like that.
Nope. No, it's hard to even win his... It's hard to get him to like you, let alone respect you.
Yeah, he hates everyone. Angry man.
So it was a really cool match, but not... I guess the ending. Watching Liger get beat around wasn't exactly the coolest stuff. It was Suzuki taking him apart. But a very touching ending. I'm going to say that. Match number 5 was the match that I told you to watch. This was off the hook crazy. This was probably the best match of the entire card. Fans, if you get a chance to watch.
This was great.
IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Will Ospreay putting his belt up against El Phantasmo of the Bullet Club.
Yep.
Wow. There was so much going on in this match. Such good. It was great, man. I really loved it. I'm a big fan of El Phantasmo just because he's a friend of mine. He plays the dickhead heel.
Yeah, he's such a heel. You see him at the beginning of the match. Even the commentators were playing it up like, "Oh, we thought he had turned over a new leaf. He was trying to shake hands."
And yet, I did notice there are a lot of people in the crowd who wear his sunglasses. So obviously, the crowd loves him too. Great match, Ospreay. I got to give it up to this guy. Man, he is an incredible wrestler. These guys had a great match. I can't even begin to tell you the moves and things. Just go watch it. Off the hook, great stuff. Match number 6 was probably the one match wasn't all that great. Was Tomohiro Ishii and Hiroki Goto taking on Takahashi and Kenta. Oh wait, and I missed what's his name?
Yoshihashi and Yujiro Takahashi.
Yeah.
I still don't get this Yoshihashi guy. I don't know.
Okay, so let me say, fans, I always skip Yoshihashi because he sucks. But okay, Yoshihashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroki Goto taking on Yujiro Takahashi, Kenta, and Jay White. Wow.
Not a great match.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible.
Right.
It just wasn't all that great.
Did you catch what Jay White said at the end as he was walking up the ramp?
No, what did he say?
Yeah, he said to Goto about his championship. About his championship, he told Goto that he's not even in the fucking picture. I'm like, what?
That sounds like Jay White. That sounds like Jay White.
I'm like, jeez.
Now, match number 7 was the interesting one. Because they had stripped Jon Moxley of the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship, they had Juice Robinson and Lance Archer fight each other with the winner getting the belt. New champion Lance Archer. Man, this dude has made some good strides in this year. Since the G1, he has really risen up, and he was really good in this match. So is Juice Robinson, but congratulations to Archer. I've met this guy. I've interviewed him before. Pretty decent dude. Plays the maniac. Good job on him. Really rising up there. Everybody
dies when he's around.
Apparently that's what he says. Match number 8 was for it was the contract match.
Yep.
Kota Ibushi putting his contract up at what do we call it, Wrestle Kingdom against Evil.
Yep.
And good match, but Ibushi just squeaking out the win here.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, in match number 9, a match I was curious to see for a while now in this newest carnations of where these guys are in their careers. Kazuchika Okada putting his belt up against Sonata. This is for the heavyweight championship. Great match. Sonata put in a really good effort, but Okada retaining the belt, walking away.
And I believe this is a match we're going to get at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes. Yeah, you believe, you mean you believe that it's going to be Okada versus Ibushi?
No, isn't it Okada and Sonata?
Well, no, because the guy who gets the main event is the dude who holds the contract. Right now it's Ibushi. Ibushi gets the main event.
Okay, I must have gotten confused at the end, because I thought they were saying he accepted the challenge or something.
Well, no.
Okay.
It will be Ibushi. So far, it looks like it'll be Ibushi versus Okada. And Sonata put in a great effort. Had he won, it would have been Sonata versus Ibushi. But as long as Ibushi holds that contract, he gets the main event and challenges for the belt.
Okay. Oh, I guess this is another rematch they're gonna have down the road.
Yes,
is what I understood. Okay. That's where the confusion came in. Okay.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell with the translations going on, and it's all in Japanese. But yes, there will be definitely another Sonata Okada match. Very good stuff. But so far, Wrestle Kingdom looks like it'll be Okada versus Ibushi. Fans, I'm looking forward to that. I know you are too, Elio.
Yep.
Well, you know what else I'm looking for, Elio?
What's that?
I'm looking forward to a break. We're going to take one right now. When we get back,
all right,
we're going to talk some MLW, some NXT UK, and talk about tonight's AEW, which we just freshly watched a little while ago. So, fans, we'll catch you back in a minute.
Hello, this is Miguel Cole from the Wrestling POV podcast. Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global is affiliated with the Collar and Elbow brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com and save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Collar and Elbow has t-shirts, hoodies, sunglasses, and more. And the best part, you're helping out your local indie wrestlers. And you're helping out the best wrestling podcast of all, Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global. You don't want to miss out. So save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Oh my goodness!
What's up? This is Jeff Cobb. You're listening to WPOV Global.
Hey, folks, we are back. Whoa, I got to tell you, I feel refreshed. Had some aqua in me. I'm sure that Elio has pounded back a few beers, probably downed a case of some kind of booze, and shot it all down with wine. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. You know, I'm always prepared right before we go on air.
I know you are. And hey, just to remind you, if you figure you have to speak into one of the 3 computers you see in front of you, speak into the middle one.
Okay.
Just saying. All right. Well, folks, you know what? We are back. Let's talk a bit about some of the shows we've been watching this week. First, we're going to start off with WWE NXT UK. And interesting offering this week. Let's start off, okay? We come from Brentwood, England. We have our new announcer, Tom Phillips, coming over. I wonder if that's a demotion. That's sent to England. Him and Nigel McGuinness. They open up. They mentioned that Gallus will be taking on Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan next week for the titles. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how much I like that, but whatever. Okay, match number 1. And I know both of us were wondering about this. The Wild Boar and Primate defeating Sam Stoker and Lewis Howley. Now, I got to tell you, folks.
Dolph Ziggler's younger brothers.
Yeah. We were wondering if we were going to like Primate and Wild Boar. Well, yeah, we're going to like them when they defeat 2 idiots like these guys, man. Holy smokes.
But also, you know what? Okay. When they showed the promo last week, when they said the hunt continues next week, I was like, oh no, because I was worried that we would have to put it back in the book. But then, as soon as Primate came out wearing that ridiculous mask, I'm like, oh no. And then he took it off right before they got into the ring. I'm like, okay, that they saved themselves.
The match was actually pretty good. I don't mind this team. I don't mind this team at all. So yeah, Primate and Wild Boar taking the win. Eichner and Barthel make it up to the thing. They kind of make some like insults towards the Hunt and then lay them out, which surprised me.
Marcel Barthel yelled at them that this mat is sacred.
Yeah, and then said that they were disgusting animals. Interesting.
Wow, I'm interested in seeing that feud where that's gonna go.
Yep. Then we saw Jazzy Gabert and Piper Niven getting ready for their match.
Okay.
Okay. Jack Stars. Whoa, he actually made it to the ring. Jack Stars comes out to fight Jordan Devlin, and he loses, of course, because it's Jack Stars.
Jack Street. Yeah, you know what? I put this. Okay, go on.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Dave Mastiff versus Kenny Williams came up. Actually, I grew a little more respect for Kenny Williams. Dave Mastiff really is. He's turning out to be a lot tougher of a guy than I thought he was. Kenny Williams actually held his own a little bit, which I was surprised. He's such a small, skinny little dude. I got a little bit more respect for Williams coming out of this, but Dave Mastiff takes the win. We had this thing. Well, we're going to skip some of the crappity craps. Let's go to the main event. Piper Niven versus against Jazzy Gabert.
Yeah, you know what? I'm done with Jazzy Gabert. Although Ginny did look good. Stays a manager, please. And don't manage Jazzy. Just manage anyone else but Jazzy Gabert.
Well, together, though, they form Jazzy Gabert and Ginny form Jizzy, which is what we call them. Piper Niven takes the win, but gets a weird assist from Rhea Ripley, of all people. Who she got, Rhea Ripley beat her a couple weeks ago, if you remember. And then Ripley comes out and stares down Gabert. So I'm not sure.
I have to say, I kind of broke my own rule, because you know how I feel about spoilers. But when I saw NXT UK, I just couldn't help it. I had to, so I kind of saw, and there's going to be a couple of interesting next few episodes of NXT UK.
Okay, well, good. Well, don't tell us. I don't look at them.
No, you know what? I'm just going to leave it at that. The next few episodes are going to be interesting.
Okay, so all in all, I'm going to say the match was, it was kind of it was just better than Thumbs, in the middle. It was, I would give it a C+, maybe. No, I'll give it a B. I'll say it was a B match.
I'm gonna give it a B. It wasn't a bad show.
No, I mean, there was none of the matches were terribly horrible in here. I mean, Jack Stars and Jordan Devlin was a little bit boring. Dave Mastiff.
The low light for me was the Jordan Devlin Jack Stars match, mainly because I'm not really a big fan of Jordan Devlin.
Yeah, I can see that. He's kind of for me, the low light was the actual Piper Niven and Jazzy Gabert match itself.
Okay. Although I did like that ending when Rhea Ripley came out.
Yeah, the ending I liked, but the actual match itself was a disappointment. I just wanted more from this match, and I felt it under-delivered. It was underwhelming for a main event.
And you know what? It's not even Piper's fault. It's more Jazzy Gabert. Like, she's just awkward in the ring.
She is really I don't know if she's out of shape or just ring rust or whatever, but she does not look good in there anymore. And I used to love her as the alpha female.
I believe this was her first match on NXT UK.
Yeah, it's her first match in a long time. I remember her years ago as the alpha female in Eve Wrestling, and I used to think she was amazing. She looked terrible and awkward in there. My highlight of the night, Rhea Ripley. Come on, how could it not be? Coming out there, stomping the crap out of Team Jizzy. Plus, let's face it, it's Rhea Ripley. She's hot. What was your highlight?
My highlight. That was my highlight. My highlight of that match. Also, I have Dave Mastiff and Kenny Williams was another one of my highlights. I really enjoyed that match.
Yeah, I really did. Like I said,
even the hunt.
Yep. So it wasn't so bad.
Those are my highlights. Yep. Those are my highlights.
Getting a little greedy with the highlights there today, but okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we gave it a B. All right, moving on now. MLW Fusion. This time it was out of Tijuana. It was out of Tijuana, and wow. Okay, where do we start? I'll quickly run down the matches really quick. We opened up with Selena walking into the building. She sees MJF, Hammerstone, and Holiday. They're saying all this crap about Mexico, and so she gets mad. She says, "Oh, you know what? You guys weaseled out of your match with the Von Erichs. They were supposed to defend the titles against the Von Erichs.
I would have got mad too. I got family in Mexico, damn it."
And wow, didn't expect that. Keep drinking that tequila, buddy. So then she kind of says, she tries to goad them into a match with her that she'd pick, and Hammerstone accepts the match on their behalf, so she walks away and accepts the match. And this is funny because I didn't realize it. At first I thought she was talking LA Park and Hio de LA Park, but no, it gets even more confusing. It is Hio and LA Park Jr., who's another third dude dressed like a skeleton. So
I thought I recognized LA Park Jr. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought there was two.
Okay, now match number 1. Holy crap, did I hate this match.
Oh, this was terrible.
Ricky Marvin versus Oraculo, I don't know, and Black
You know what? When I saw this guy come out, I saw the Titan, I saw the screen. I thought it read Dracula.
He should have been Blackula. He wasn't Eli or Brownula. I guess he was Puerto Rican. But I don't know. It was, oh my lord, this was terrible match.
Very bad.
This is everything I hate.
Yeah.
It's everything I hate about Lucha Wrestling, and it was all 3 members of Crash Wrestling, which is a Lucha Libre thing in Tijuana. It was terrible, man.
Okay. Yeah, it was really bad.
I mean, at least MLW, usually when they bring Lucha wrestlers into the U.S., they work the matches a little bit different. This was worked just like a Lucha Libre match. It was terrible. Didn't enjoy it.
They called it a trios match or something.
Or Kilo or whatever the hell his name was won. Well, who really cares, right? I don't know if we'll ever see that dude again.
See, that's how much I was paying attention to the match. I didn't even know who won.
Yeah. Then we cut to kind of a weird segment where it had like Brian Pillman getting advice from Low Key, and then he just gets mad.
Brian Pillman with the attitude.
Yeah, and just walks off with "You don't know me," and Low Key like, "Okay, buddy, I was just trying to help you," sort of deal.
Jeez.
So then we have Selena. She comes out and she's bragging about Los Angeles Park, going up against Fatu, and Joseph Samael comes out and he demands a match with somebody of her choice next week. So we don't know who it's going to be, but it will definitely. Or no, I guess I forgot. I blacked him out, but good old Jimmy. What the hell's that guy's name? I hate so much. I just hate him. Jimmy Stapler, whatever. He's in our book.
I swear, you know what? He makes Sheamus look good.
Yeah.
Because if you look at him, that guy is pale. I mean, I don't think he's ever seen this. I don't think he's ever seen sunlight.
I don't want to say his name, fans, but it's Jimmy Havoc, of course. Comes out, and he says that he's the producer for this executive producer for next week's episode. They're going to have some.
God help us all.
Yeah, and he says that he would like to put a match, like somebody in Contra Unit versus somebody in Selena's, and Samuel says he's going to take it. He'll do the match. They didn't announce who it was going to be for Selena's side, and that we'd have to find out later, which means they'll probably leak it this week on the internet somewhere, and we'll find out.
I'm pretty sure he'll put himself in the match against Samuel.
Oh, Jimmy Havoc? Yeah, I could see that. Then we had Alex Hammerstone putting. It was a champion versus champion match against Ray Horace. Ray Horace, of course, is the Crash champion. Alexander Hammerstone is the MLW. What is it? Openweight and Everweight.
National Openweight champion.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Whatever ridiculous title is. Had a champion versus champion match that went by disqualification. So I don't think none of the belts were unified. Hammerstone gets himself disqualified. Ray Horace wins by DQ. Geez, this is so painful thinking back to this match. And then the main event. Oh my lord, LA Park Jr. and that's Junior. That's not LA Park. LA Park Jr. and Hio de la Park with Selena De La Renta in their corner, taking on Richard Holiday and MJF for the tag team belts. This was a terrible, sloppy match.
It was brutal. It was
brutal. And you saw nothing out of the Parks, man.
No.
I mean, they looked like chumps in there.
I liked the Parks last week, and this week not so much. Yeah.
So in the end, MJF and Richard Holiday take the win. And then it's announced, of course, next week, Jimmy Havoc's the executive producer, and one of his matches will be him. Oh, hey, wait a sec. He won't be in the Contra match because he'll be in this match Him versus Damien 666 versus Savio Vega.
Oh, okay.
Oh my lord.
Oh, okay. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
You told me some of the other matches. Okay. Wow.
And then Joseph Samuel will face someone represented by Selena Dillon. My guess, okay, I'm going to throw it out there. I have no idea. I have not read any spoilers or anything. Wait, who do you pick? Who do you pick? Who do you think Selena's going to throw in there against Samuel? I know who I got in my head. Who do you think she's going to throw in there?
Is that guy still around, Ricky Martinez?
I think she got rid of him. But if that could be your pick, he might still be there. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm going to go with Ricky Martinez if he's still around.
You know who I'm going to go with?
That's my pick.
I'm going to go with L.A. Park.
Oh, okay.
Just, I could be 100% wrong, but I did guess the low-key thing last time, so I'm going to go with L.A. Park.
Okay.
Okay, so overall this week, fans, this was a C-. This was a shit show.
Oh, this was... You know what else was really bad was the lighting.
The what? The lighting? Oh, everything about... Yeah, well, it was obvious
the lighting was terrible. The whole production was terrible.
It was not a very good episode for MLW. Yeah, I'm going to give it a C-.
I'm sorry, this one's going to get a D for me.
Ooh, that's... Yeah, okay.
Oh, what?
Ouch. I've almost...
It was bad.
All right, you have convinced me. I'm going to give it a D also. Let's dump it down. It was pretty crappy. None of the matches were worth watching. There's nothing that... Even though the Hammerstone match wasn't very good, it was crap. Let's give it a D.
Yeah, I can't even give you one highlighter because they were all lowlights.
Now, before we get into our AEW report of the week, I want to quickly look. We got this thing called AEW Dark. Okay?
Yep. Yes.
Now, Dark is the matches that happen that same night as AEW is on, beforehand, before they run the cameras. The only part that sucks about this is we get these matches like a day before the new matches, so we get to talk about matches that are a week old, and that part I don't like. I don't like that very much. If
it was me, I would put AEW Dark on the Thursday following their show, because this way the show is fresh in people's minds. But if you put it on the following Tuesday, the show is already going to be a week old.
Now, I didn't mind the first AEW Dark. I thought it was okay. This one was kind of crappy, except for the main event. Kip Sabian versus the Librarian Peter Avalon and the Concrete Rose Sunny Kiss. Man, this could have been an MLW's Tijuana report. It was pretty bad.
You know what? This librarian gimmick, I am so done with it.
It's bad.
I'm upset. You know what? I can't believe Cody's got my number. Why didn't he call me? I would have been the librarian. I can tell people to be quiet.
I think you're too drunk to cross the border, my friend. Anyhow.
All right.
Terrible three-way match with Kip Sabian winning. Oh, and then it gets even worse. The team of Hybrid 2, Jack Evans and Angelico, and, oh my God, the Dark Order. God, these guys suck. Stu Grayson and Evil Uno. Taking on SCU, Scorpion Sky, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, and SEMA. Oh, man. The Dark
I have a
Order.
question. What are your thoughts on this Hybrid 2, though?
They got an interesting look. You know what? The more I see them, the more I like them. I didn't know what to think at first. But
there's only one problem.
What's that?
They teamed up with the Dark Order.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this week.
Don't be hanging around with the Dark Order, otherwise you're going to go in the book.
Yeah, no kidding. I like this team, though. Hybrid 2 is not too bad. I know Jack Evans. He used to wrestle, longtime partner with Teddy Hart years ago. He used to be out here in Western Canada a lot. Pretty lax guy. Good to see him in a successful team. You know?
Okay.
And Angelico, I need to see more of him.
Yeah.
So, terrible. This was just another terrible match. Hybrid 2 and the Dark Order get the win. Then comes the part that blows me away. Okay?
Oh,
now, folks, I want you to understand, AEW is on a network, and their show, Dynamite, has, it has people drawing money, and it has, revenue coming in from commercials. Yep. AEW Dark is straight to YouTube, okay? There's no money involved in this. So I'm blown away that one of their biggest guys, Kenny Omega, not only wrestled on Dark, but wrestled a hardcore style match, a lights out match for some YouTube. I just don't get it. Okay, takes on Joey Janela in a lights out match. Lots of crazy crap happened in this. Did you catch Joey Janela landing on the spine of those chairs? and bouncing off it. You can't tell me that didn't
was
hurt.
painful. That was painful.
In the end, Kenny Omega wins. Now,
Yep.
I've wondered about this. I did some digging. I'm thinking, why would AEW let Omega, their big guy, do this sort of match? Rumor is it that he was using this as a tune-up match because they're going to do some hardcore stuff with Kenny versus John Moxley down the road, and this was a bit of a tune-up for him. You know, he hasn't done any hardcore matches.
So what I'm talking about, could you picture John Moxley doing these hardcore matches in a WWE ring?
No.
So I don't get why he's doing it in AEW.
I don't know, but I don't know. Like this week's episode of Dark, I wouldn't recommend it. It wasn't that great.
No.
And the match, there was a cool stuff at the end, but it's really Kenny Omega. You know, Kenny Omega shouldn't be in these kind of matches, and it's not cool.
Right.
Okay, let's go into this week's AEW. Okay.
All
right. We have an opening match. It's supposed to be the Best Friends versus SCU.
Actually, before we go on, these were for the part of the tag team championship tournaments.
Yeah, this is the first round match. This iteration of SCU was supposed to be Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. As they're coming up for the beginning of the match, they're jumped by the Lucha Brothers, which I found very odd. I thought the Lucha Brothers were happy-go-lucky good guys.
Because I didn't catch it from the beginning. So when I turned on my TV, I saw someone laid out. So I wasn't sure what happened.
Okay, there. What happened is Pentagon Zero pile drove Christopher Daniels with a package pile driver on the ramp and took him out.
Okay, so it was Kazarian and Sky then.
Yeah, so Scorpio Sky come running out, chased off the Lucha Brothers. Then the referee said, we can't start the match because Daniels is hurt too much. He said, I'm part of this team, let me fill in. So he filled in without wrestling gear. He was wrestling in his running shoes and blue jeans, and he got some trainer's tape, taped his arms up, got in there. Out come the Best Friends, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor. Okay match. Some weird stuff. Did you catch with Taylor takes off one of Scorpio's shoes and starts biting his foot? His toe.
What?
Yeah, well, that was a little bizarre.
That should go in the book.
Yeah, and then they've got enough problems.
If he's gonna start doing crap like that.
Yeah, well, we'll let it go this week because it was only once. Scorpio Sky wrestled most of the match without any boots on at all. He wore his socks most of the time, which gave the end a very bizarre-looking finishing maneuver because him trying to do a drop kick in his socks was pretty funny. However, SCU does take the win. They advance to the next round. Then we have okay, this was funny. These guys showed up, I think, on WWE just as an enhancement group just a couple of weeks ago. But the team of John Silver and Reynolds come out.
Okay.
These guys wrestle in the northeast of the U.S. mostly. They showed up, I think, on it was either SmackDown or NXT. And they were jobbed out by a tag team. Then they got jobbed out here on AEW. Ortiz and Santana come out in an extremely quick match and take them out pretty badly. Then we had this really kind of mini film about Cody Rhodes. I don't know what you thought of that. It was kind of strange.
Oh, is that where he was sitting at his table and
Brandy's talking.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just there. I really have nothing to say about that.
It was all pushing the forward. Cody's upcoming match with Chris Jericho and how he's focused on the world title. Then we had AEW Women's Champion Riho defeating Dr. Britt Baker. You know, every time I see Riho, I think, man, this chick is tiny. But that little chick is fast and can move in that ring.
She can move. Yeah, every time I see her in the ring, she can move. And now I see what you mean by she's tiny, because she was standing on the apron and I'm looking at her like, she is small.
Yeah, she's very small. Britt Baker is like an average sized woman and looks like a giant compared to her.
Oh, and I saw what you're talking about, her finisher from last week.
Tried to stick her hand in your mouth and do the
What's it called? The lockjaw or something?
The lockjaw or something like that. I did find it interesting. I found it pretty cool how Riho was in the hold and then rolled herself over and pinned Baker while being in the
Yeah.
submission hold. So props to Riho. I thought for sure she was going to lose the belt tonight. Britt Baker just didn't have it in her tonight. Moving on, then
could we be wrong about Riho?
I'm starting to gain a lot of respect for her.
Yeah.
She pulled off a lot of pretty cool things in that match. Okay. Next, we had another AEW Tag Team Championship Tournament first round match. The Lucha Brothers defeating the team of Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt. Now, I know you're a big Marco Stunt fan, and you must have been a little bit proud of him.
You're mistaken.
Fun match. I'm going to say this is we have been extremely hard on Marco Stunt for quite a while. I got to say he gained a bit of respect for me. He actually not only played the underdog, but he actually had a pretty solid showing here for a guy his size. The Lucha Brothers, are they bad?
You know what? I'm gonna go back and watch this match because to see because we've seen him in MLW. So I wanna actually watch closely and see how he really is in AEW.
All right, and this is my challenge to you, Elio. I want you to go back and watch that match, and if it's changed your opinion at all of Marco Stunt, I want you to post it on our thing saying, you know what, Marco Stunt, we were hard on you, but maybe there is a little something there. That's all I ask.
Post it on
our
Facebook
page. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you look back and I'm wrong, you can by all means say, look back, and I think the legend TJ Logan is off his rocker because Marco Stunt sucks, and I don't agree with whatever he says. I'm willing to take whatever which you agreed, whatever you see. Okay.
All right.
Anyways, this match, I really have a hard time with the Lucha Brothers as bad guys. I mean, I can see Pentagon Zero; he wrestles like a heel, but Ray Phoenix wrestles so much like a babyface that it's weird to see him being categorized as a heel because he does such fun-loving, crowd-loving maneuvers. Mm-hmm. At the end, of course, Lucha Brothers get the pin. They move on to the next round. Then a very interesting match. I like this match a lot. Jon Moxley and Pac taking on Adam Page and Kenny Omega.
Yeah, this was a great match.
Pretty hard hitting. And then Jon Moxley summoning his inner Steve Austin gives Pac the double fingers and gives like the dirty deeds move to Pac and leaves Pac laid out, who then proceeds to take a shit kicking from Kenny Omega and Adam Page.
What a heel! I mean, Pac was like telling them, "What are you doing? This isn't a no DQ match.
Don't make us lose."
Jon Moxley doesn't care.
Nope, he did not. So in the end, Kenny Omega and Adam Page get the pin on Pac. Meanwhile, Moxley walks off. And then the main event, AEW champion Chris Jericho putting his belt up against Darby Allin in a street fight. And I got to tell you, I'm liking Darby Allin more and more each time I see him.
You know what? I love the entrance. If I were in AEW, I'd come out with that entrance on the skateboard.
What I really like about this guy is how fast he is. He just does the spin around stuff. He's just motion. It was definitely the thing.
And it's none of this flippity flip stuff. Like every move he does means something. Has like a meaning to it.
Yeah, exactly. He's not just out there flying around like an acrobat. Yeah. He is really using his speed to make these attacks. And I got to say, it really kept Jericho off balance, and he came very close. At the end there, he went there was a part in the match, because it is a street fight, where Jericho took out some trainer's tape and taped up Darby Allin's hands behind his back, so he couldn't really, he was stuck without his legs, but then, or without his without his hands. Then he started doing all kinds of crazy moves without his hands, like climbing up the rope, doing flips, running out and doing planches. The guy was like...
Yeah, now this is the part that I was talking about earlier. Jericho, he had the skateboard in the ring, and he went to drop Allin right on the skateboard. You can see he dropped... Allin's back fell on the mat, and the skateboard was just under his legs.
Yeah. I think it would have really hurt if he come down on his back on that skateboard.
No, but that goes back to what we were talking about, like these hardcore matches. Like he dropped him on the mat, so he didn't actually hurt the guy.
Right. Good match. Darby Allin definitely looked like a star coming out of here.
Yep.
At the end, he was going up for his coffin drop. Jack Hager gets in there, interferes.
You know, I didn't like this. I didn't like the ending.
The ending kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I kind of guessed it was going to happen. I didn't see Jericho getting a clean victory here. I don't think we'll ever see Chris Jericho getting a clean victory. Jack Hager, I guess they had to keep him fresh in our mind.
No, I didn't expect him to get like the clean win, but I didn't like that ending though. Like I think it could have been different. They could have done something different.
I agree. I wasn't a big fan of the ending either. But like I said, fans, keep an eye on Darby Allin. This week's, I am going to give this a B+. I thought
I'm going to do the same. This week gets a B+ for me.
The only weak parts in here were definitely the women's match was great. Ortiz and Santana having a squash match kind of sucked. The Best Friends versus SCU, I kind of didn't like that. It should have been better. Although I got to give Scorpio Sky credit, the guy is amazing in there. Wow, the more I look at it, actually, I'm going to give it an A. It's not an A+, but I'm going to give it a solid A because there was only a tiny few weak things in it. Okay?
Okay. All right.
So
I'll still go with the B+.
All right. So if we look at this week's, it's obvious that the 2 points that we put in the kitty definitely goes to AEW this week.
Yep.
Second place with 1 point we're going to have to give to NXT UK. And boy, this is the third week in a row MLW has gotten 0 points. However, I do want to point out, except for this card, folks, the other 2 weeks, even though they got 0 points, they were tremendous shows. And if the other shows hadn't been so good, they might have been able to steal a point. So MLW has not gone the way of ROH yet, boring the crap out of us, but they have to rise up their game a bit if they want to run with the big boys, because it looks like there's some good stuff coming out right now about the other brands.
Yep. MLW third place for third week in a row.
That's pretty good. Now, folks, we know we talked about it. We got this ongoing thing. We're going to be covering every week AEW Dynamite, and meanwhile, the guys over in Wrestling POV will be covering NXT, and we're going to discuss it and decide which is the better match. You know, like they'll of course watch AEW on a separate time. We'll watch NXT probably tomorrow, and then we'll decide in our minds which is the better, and all four of us will give our opinions. Now, the first week we had overwhelmingly gave our opinion to NXT, edging out.
Yes.
This week, however, the votes were different. 3 of me, you, and Rick Serrano III picking AEW episode 2 last week as the winner, while Mimi Goody and Tony Diaz picking NXT as the thing. So 3-2, that's a bit of a split. This was a pretty darn good episode. I don't look at spoilers, but I took a peek at what was scheduled, what happened over on NXT, and I gotta say, I don't know if the quality of matches can rise up to the amount of good matches we saw this week. So it'll be interesting to see.
We'll give it a look either tomorrow. We'll give it a look tomorrow.
Yeah, me and you will probably look tomorrow, and we'll tell the guys at POV what we thought was the better show, and we'll find out on Saturday. They'll announce which it was, and we'll reiterate it on next week's episode. So, folks, we had a great time talking wrestling as always. We're tickled pink that so many of you watching us from around the world. You know, it's amazing. You know, we love. You know, we're not downplaying the fact we love that we have Canadian and American fans. You know, that's always been a given. And you know, we always hope that maybe you pick up a few fans from England or Ireland, which we've done. And maybe you get some of the Japanese fans and the Chinese fans, which we've started to get a few of, and that's exciting. But also getting places like Australia, New Zealand, and of course, I'm always a sucker for it. Love the Russians. I got to say, privyet to all of my Russian friends out there. Thank you guys for continuing to support us and listening to us. You can catch us every week, every Thursday, I believe, on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. Oh, I remembered Stitcher.
You remembered Stitcher this week.
That's right. And fans, There is a sister show we have called Wrestling POV. We've been poking fun of those guys all day. They're this tremendous four-man unit made up. Well, I shouldn't say man because two of them aren't men. But we've got Tony Diaz. We've got Rick Serrano III. We got Mimi Goody. And we got a puppet. What more can you say? Miguel Cole. They take a look weekly, every Saturday at WWE, and they have a hoot of a show. It's pretty fun. Not saying it's fun of us, and not saying they're tough guys, Iron Men like we are, because we're willing to work every freaking week. We're not off to Spain or what other countries, we're not off to vacation in Nevada or some ridiculousness. Wherever we go, we do our show.
We're Mr. No Weeks Off.
No weeks off, no pain, no gain. There ain't no off season when you're podcasting with WPOV Global. So, folks, have yourself a great night. Tune in next week. Pray for Elio. He really needs it. He will not listen to any of the 12 steps I've offered. The girls that he's hanging with have gone below sleazy. They're in a category I don't even know how to describe. Just hope for him, fans. And all the other fans, love you guys. Catch you next week. I am your host, the legend TJ Logan. Elio, say goodbye to the good people.
All right, fans, we will talk to you all next week.